With 284 million people suffering from anxiety in 2017 and the figures on the rise all the time, are we having a global anxiety attack? Anxiety disorders are the most common mental disorders and will affect 30% of all adults at some point. It's increasingly common, isn't it? Wherever you go, people tell you, I'm anxious. I do live performances where I talk to people about anxiety. Normally people put their hands up, say, oh, I suffer from anxiety. I think, well, how anxious are you? You're out in public, you've got your hand up, there's nothing wrong with you. Then I remember that myself, I continually suffer from anxiety. For me, low level, gurgly, abdominal fear, rising heat in the esophageal area. You're describing heartburn. There is a physical dimension to mental illness, even if it is subtle perception feelings. For me, the reason that I feel anxiety is that there are things that I'm not doing that I should be doing, or things that I am doing that I shouldn't be doing, and some deeper aspect of myself is aware of it and trying to correct me. I believe that the clearer we become, the more focused we become, the more we free ourselves of our cultural, social and familial and psychological programming, the more able we are to receive information from deeper aspects of our intuitive nature. When people talk about God or transcendence or the nature of enlightenment, I think one way of looking at it is if all these things are achievable within the self, that there is a God and you are that God, and that God is accessible to you if you can clear away your layers of accreted data and cultural indoctrination. If you can liberate yourself from the belief that, hello, here I am holding my phone watching this. I mean, of course, on one level, you are you watching your phone, looking at a video because it was talking about anxiety and you suffer from anxiety. But all of those beliefs, all of that investment is to a point constructed, meaning we continually make choices that reiterate and reaffirm who we believe ourselves to be. So if you are suffering from anxiety, anxiety is a spur to change. I've talked a lot to spiritual people and philosophically well-schooled and alert people about the subject of anxiety and fear. And most of them say, unless you're, deeply mentally unwell and require continual professional help, which I accept that that's a category, that anxiety and fear are communications from somewhere in the field of your being that, if unheeded, will cause further discomfort. Like, I reckon 5-6 years ago, the reason I lived with such a lot of anxiety is because I wasn't acknowledging my need for roots, connection, family, serenity. I was trying to solve the problems of my life through stimulation, other people's approval, success, attention, in my case, from females. It was only when those systems started to break down that I was willing to consider alternative solutions to the problems I believed I was facing. Like, often with anxiety, you are anxious, but then you want to prescribe the cure. I need to do these things in order to not be anxious. I need to do these things in order to be happy. Well, quite often the requirement is that we surrender. We admit there's a problem. We believe it could change. We become willing to accept outside help. How I suppose I would deal with that if I was a person suffering continually from anxiety, and I speak with at least personal authority on this matter from the perspective of I am someone who, if I don't live in a very structured way, if I don't attend regular 12-step meetings, if I don't regularly talk to other drug addicts with more time clean than me about addiction and help other drug addicts with less time than me, then I would get so encircled and enshrined in my own solipsistic mental illness and anxious meanderings that my life becomes unlivable. The way I mitigate that and change it is by living a structured life. The structured life includes community and fellowship with other people, pursuit of goals that are sort of like nutritional and nourishing, personally nourishing, i.e. I meditate, I do personal training and Brazilian jiu-jitsu and that, you know, I stay physically fit and I try and be useful and helpful to other people. Those are like, I reckon that unless you're doolally, and no disrespect to the doolally, that all forms of discomfort can be interpreted as communicative. You know, there is a sort of a very materialistic perspective that no, it's just a chemical imbalance, you can pop a pill and redress that shit. But I think no, there's something that wants to be heard. We're very oppressive about flowing energy. Perhaps in part patriarchy and misogyny are underwritten by this. The flow of changing, stirring, anxious energy, it needs to be honoured and heard and incorporated. You have to learn to look at your anxiety as an awareness. I mean, perhaps the reason there's 284 million people worldwide with anxiety and 30% of adults will experience anxiety is because we live in a terrifying world at a terrifying time with terrifying individuals and terrifying institutions pursuing terrifying goals with a terrifying ignorance towards the reality of life on this planet, limited resources, inequality, the sort of the ecological and economic time bomb that we are watching it tick into its dreadful ignition. That not being anxious would be, to some degrees, more of a concern. So in a way, that macro example demonstrates what I'm saying. The fear that we experience on a planetary level is necessary, prudent, wise. One of my teachers says there is neurotic fear and wisdom fear. Neurotic fear or anxiety is when we're continually worried, oh no, what do I look like? Oh God, what if those people don't like me? I shouldn't go. Oh no, which one of these should I buy, one or two? That's neurotic. It's not going to lead you anywhere. Wisdom fear is, I need to change. I'm living in a way that's not acceptable to my truest ideas of what I want to be. You need some mentorship, some guidance, some community, some meditation. You do. But to recognize that within your anxiety there could be wisdom is an important step. So I say, if you are one of the millions of people suffering from anxiety, find fellowship and community, find meditative practice, find purpose through service of others. That's just a few tools that you can use. Thank you very much. Hello, I'm doing these new videos more frequently now. Please hit the notification button at the end of this video, because then you'll get a little bell when I post a new video, and I'd like you to get a little bell when I post a video. Then I can, I don't know, be buzzing away in your pocket. Sounds like I'd be like a little pocket mosquito. Anyway, subscribe, click the bell, because I want more people to watch the YouTube videos. You specifically.